We recently pored over the data that looked at what's a good drive for your age and your handicap based on countless millions of drives studied by Arccos, golf's first artificial intelligence system. None of these numbers though looked at how where you play your golf may affect average driver distances. So in this video, we take a look at how golfers in different states across the US stack up against each other to see who comes on top of the longest hitters list. And given it's Ryder Cup year, for an extra bit of fun, we also compare how the average driving distances of American amateurs compare to their European rivals across the Atlantic. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're turning our golfing focus onto how the location of where you play your golf may affect how far you hit your driver. Again, thanks to Arccos and their Data Insights lead Lou Stagner's study of countless millions of drives their users have recorded, we now have a picture of which US states produce the longest and shortest hitters. And looking at Stagner's study of the drives of low handicap golfers hit during the summer months to avoid winter conditions affecting the data, he noted that it was the beehive state of Utah that came out on top with a total average drive distance of 267 yards or 244 meters. Colorado ranked second with total average drives of 264 yards, while Nevada completed the podium with an average driving distance of 263 yards or 240 meters. The analysis meanwhile uncovered Florida to be bottom of the pile, averaging a total of 25 yards less on average than Utah, with an average driving distance of 242 yards by comparison. Comparing driving distances across states like this is all good fun, and for sure generates some entertaining exchanges between friends from different parts of the country. But given this study is restricted to the summer months and only low handicappers, does it actually tell us anything? And a closer look at the data together with other numbers does offer some interesting insights into what elements affect golf ball distance and how they could be relevant to your own driving yardages. Acknowledging the caveats of the restricted dataset, there are likely some key reasons why these numbers show states in the western US tending to hit it longer, while states along the east coast and in the south see shorter drives. And the first of these relates to altitude. We know from TrackMan, for example, that on average male amateur golfers hit shots 6% further at an altitude of 5,000 feet. And looking at the state data again, we can clearly see that the highest elevation states, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming amongst others, dominate the top of the leaderboard because, in short, altitude affects golf ball distance by impacting air pressure. As elevation increases, air pressure decreases, resulting in less resistance or drag in the golf ball, which therefore flies further at higher altitudes. States like Florida, South Carolina and Delaware, meanwhile, all sit or near sea level, where the greater density of the air creates more resistance in the ball, leading to more lift and drag, and drives flying higher, landing more steeply and carrying shorter distances. Arccos' separate study of average drive distances by handicap also backs this all up, as it confirmed amongst their users that playing at 5,000 plus feet can add between 14 and 30 yards to drives. An alternative analysis of this data offered by golf.com also suggests a correlation between distance and age, with Utah ranking as both the youngest state at 31.3 years old on average, at the same time as being the longest drivers. States like Maine, the oldest state in the nation with an average age of 45, New Hampshire, Vermont, Florida and Delaware, meanwhile, rank in both the top 10 lists for oldest residents and shortest hitters. With outliers like Kentucky, with a relatively average age but well above driving distance ranking, compared to well below average hitting Iowa with its similarly average age, we are perhaps, no pun intended, on safer ground with the altitude assessment to help explain these patterns. And one Utah local who may agree with this is six-time PGA Tour winner Tony Finau, who when playing at the World Golf Championships at the Club de Golf Chapultepec in Mexico City, which reaches 7,835 feet above sea level, remarked, "It's pretty crazy how far the ball goes at Chapultepec. At least coming from Utah, I can relate. It's going farther here, but playing at altitude at home, I'm a little closer to these numbers than a lot of the other guys." To put the height at the Club de Golf in context, Muirfield Village in Ohio reaches 910 feet, while Augusta reaches 310 feet at its highest point. And playing at nearly 8,000 feet, we can see that Rory McIlroy expects in and around 40 yards extra distance with his driver and nearly a massive 14% distance gain with his 5-iron. The top pros' experiences of playing at altitude, however, tell us that playing at higher altitudes doesn't just require a simple 10% club distance adjustment, for example. The actual percentage will depend on the club being used, as well as an individual player's launch characteristics, spin rate, launch angle, average apex and descent angle. The time of the day and temperature plays a role too. Ball flight dynamics are also affected, with shots flying lower and straighter, rolling more after landing and curving less. The good news about the ball curving less at altitude, of course, is that the fairways will play wider, but if you do play at various altitudes, it's important to understand the role of trajectory and spin to maximise distance. Or to put it another way, the ideal launch conditions of launch angle and spin rate at sea level in San Diego, California, likely aren't the same as in Denver, Colorado. The base level altitude at Bethpage Black is not going to be a big factor for the pros at the 2025 Ryder Cup, but when it comes to the international driving distance averages, it appears that if American amateurs are anything to go by, the US team are going to have the driving distance edge come September. Because according to Arccos, American male golfers drive it further than European amateurs across all handicap categories. This data was compiled for shots using driver only, and so while any of you US-based watchers may find yourselves debating the state-to-state numbers, it seems you currently have the distance bragging rights over your European golfing friends. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please do hit that like button and check out how other aspects of weather like wind, rain, humidity, temperature and slopes affect your driving distance in our next video. Thanks again for watching, and as ever and most importantly, we hope you're enjoying your golf.